Good morning, class. How y'all doing today?
Good.
All right. So before we get started today, we're going to talk about how to figure out areas and perimeter. And I'm going to talk to you about that. So you all have your rooms, right? So let's think about our walls and our carpet, or tile or wood, whatever your rooms have in it. So what does your room have in it?
Tile.
And your room?
Carpet.
Okay. How about y'all's room back there? All right. Thanks. So do you like that, or do you want something different in your rooms?
Something different.
Okay, so we're going to talk about area and perimeter. So when you get older, you guys are planning on owning a house, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you have a house, you're going to have a yard, and you're going to want a fence around there, probably a privacy fence maybe. All right, so in order to be able to know how much fence you need to know the perimeter of your yard. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So for today, we're going to say that P equals perimeter and A equals area. Alright? So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to figure out what the perimeter of your yard would be, or anything. You guys remember last year in 3rd grade when we were talking about, how to measure, right? What were some of the measurements you used to measure things? Inches, feet, yards, and I think you even did centimeters and things like that, right? All right, so now if I was going to measure a whole street, what would I use to measure a street in maybe?
Yards.
A couple of blocks, yards, right? Okay, so what if we're just going to measure this table?
Inches.
We could use inches or feet. Good job. All right, so when we do measurements, we usually do inches, feet, meters, or yards, and then we do centimeters and measurements like that, right? This is the same thing. So for perimeter, I'm going to give you the formulas, and if you notice on your tables, I actually put cheat sheets on there for you. So a perimeter would be, and we're going to use blocks today to teach this. I've taped mine up here so that you all can see it, and then you have blocks on your table so you can practice for yourselves, and then when you get the assignment at the end, then you can do your assignments. So the first thing, the way I like to do this is, I don't know, these are small, but you guys will have to do more inches, more feet, more yards, or maybe even a whole lot more blocks, all right? You could do up to 120 blocks, because that's what I put on your tables. That's a lot, huh? All right, but I'm going to show you how to do this in just a simple one. So we have a square, and we have a perimeter, and later this afternoon, I'm going to show you how to actually measure perimeters and areas of different styles, and I'll show you that at the end. But to keep it simple, we're going to go with just a square and a rectangle, okay? So the area, when I talk area, we talk about everything that's inside. So all of this would be your area. Now that would be for your new floors that you guys want in your rooms, right? Now, if we're getting older, or if we want to even do something as small as order wood to build our own picture frame, that's not that big, is it? All right, but we're going to use the fence. If we're going to do a fence in our yard, the perimeter is all the way around, okay? So that's just the outside of our square or our rectangle. You understand the difference of area and perimeter. Now, what do we need to figure out the area? Well, there's a formula. If you look down here, you're going to see area is a short word, 4 letters. It's simple, length times width. So we got length times width. And then in perimeter, we have to do one of 2 ways. How many of you are really good at multiplication? You're good at multiplication, and you would rather, what, add probably? Okay, so to do perimeter, we would use, for adding, length plus width plus length plus width. If you're good at multiplication, you can take 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. And like I said, if you notice, it's already there for you, right? All right, so what we got here is we've got from left to right, that's our width. From up to down, that's our length. And then a square, you have the same width and length. Now, a square is perfect. So however wide it is how tall it is on all sides. So if I have a 8-foot square block, that means it's 8 foot here, 8 foot here, 8 foot here, and 8 foot here. On a rectangle, your width could be 20 or 30, and your lengths could be like 4 or 5. But the widths always equal each other, and the lengths. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. So, like I said, for simple, we're going to do the square first. So if we have width going across and length up, how many blocks do I have going across? How many blocks do I have going across right here? 2. So we have 2 for the width. Now how many do I have going up? 2. So we have 2 for the width and 2 for the length. And we know the other width and the other length are also 2 in a square, right? So they're all 2. So now what I like to do, I'm going to show you here now, is I like to draw about the same. And we know that in a square, all sides are equal. So if I want the area of these squares, look at your cheat sheets, what would I do?
Length times width.
So length times width. So what's the width of this square?
2.
And if the width is 2, then so is the length. So what's 2 times 2?
4.
So we know the area is 4. If you count these blocks, we have how many? 4. 4 blocks, right? Alright, because that's the area. Now, the area in the perimeter will not always be the same. You have to understand that. So on perimeter, we have a, what's the formula for that?
Length plus width plus
Length plus width. So we're going to stick with that. So what are they're all the same, they're all 2. Now, this is on a square. So we got 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 equal 8. So if you notice, our area is 4, but our perimeter is 8 because we went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You got that? Okay. Now I'm going to be your secretary, and you guys are going to tell me what to do on the rectangle. So together, though, we're going to count them. So once again, we have width and length. So let's count these together. How many squares or inches, we're going to say these are inches, do we got going across?
2.
Count them with me.
2,
1.
2, 3, 4, 5.
So we have 6. So we know that our widths are 6. Now how many do we have in our lengths? 2. Okay, so let's do area first. What's the formula?
Length times width.
So what's our length?
Length is 2.
2 times, what's our length or width?
6.
Okay, so what is 2 times 6? Help her out. 12. 2 times 6 equal 12. Is that area or perimeter?
Area.
Alright, so we know our area equals 12. So we already know our width and our length, so let's do perimeter. How do we do perimeter?
Length plus width plus length plus width.
Okay, so we'll do that. So let's start with this width. What's this width?
6
So we have 6
plus
plus
2
2
plus 6
plus 2 equals what?
16.
16. Alright, so we got 6 plus 2 plus 6 plus 2. Or if we went, if you look down here, 2 length plus 2 widths, what would our lengths be? What's our length? Well, that's what they are, but what's our length?
2.
2 times 2 plus, what's our width?
6.
2 of those, right? So what's 6 times 2?
12.
Okay, so 2 times 2 is
4.
4. And what was 6 times 2?
12.
12. Good job. All right, and we know that that is 16. Did we get the same answer?
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter which formula that you use, okay? Good? Alright, so now what we're going to do next is in front of you, all your desk, you have blocks already put out. Some of you have squares, some of you have rectangles. I want you to work on those, and I'm going to follow you, walk around the room, and ensure that everybody's doing the right thing. So, go ahead and grab your papers and your pencils. And I want you to figure out perimeter and area. So in the top, write perimeter, or P, and A. Alright, now what I like to do is I like to, like I did up here, I like to draw a diagram like I did for my square. So go ahead and draw a diagram for yourself so it'll be easier. Okay, so you both do a diagram. Now if you don't know width and length, you can put that on there. I go with width is across and length is up and down. You don't have to do that if you don't. So now, what's the first thing we're going to do? We're going to do perimeter first. That's the harder one. Alright, so to get perimeter, what's the first thing we have to do? You already drew it. So look at your blocks that you have in front of you, and you're going to count what? The width and the length. So how many blocks do you have going across?
4.
Okay, so go ahead and write that down. Now, do you have a square or a perimeter, young lady?
Square.
So you know all sides are what?
The same.
So then you can go ahead and write 4 all the way around, right? How about you? You only have 3 blocks going across?
Oh.